Welcome to Grease Chats, everybody. Tony Kariotis here with Fotini Patris.
Hi,
What's
Tony.
up?
Hi, how are you doing?
For those that remember, last year, this time, we did a podcast episode right here on this exact patio in Galimnos, and it was titled Working Remotely and Living Remotely, and the differences and the fine line in between these two.
Correct.
So, Fotini here, about a year ago, came to Greece with the idea of working remotely with everything going on in this world. And I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions that I think we might have touched on last year, but then we'll also talk about what it's like being here for an extended period of time.
Okay.
What do you think?
Sounds good.
So, how did this all start?
Well, this all started with initially a passion to travel, but what put it into like fast gear was the pandemic and the need to work remotely in order to sustain an income or to have a job that continued into a pandemic when so many businesses were struggling.
Right.
So that put me on the road, and I left where I lived, which I thought would be temporarily, from Los Angeles, and I came here to Kalimnos, Greece, and then I decided to start working remotely from here and to see where that would take me.
So before you obviously left, you had an idea of what working remotely and living remotely going to be like. Were they what you anticipated or completely different ballgame?
Correct. Well, I had already done a little bit of remote working in short stints, but under the new conditions of a pandemic and being here much longer than a week or two, things changed a little bit.
So, but when you say change, what way?
Well, to be in a remote state for an extended amount of time, I had to make a few adjustments. My business is based in the United States, in Los Angeles, and anything can really be sustainable for a couple of weeks if you want to travel here, you want to travel there. I ended up staying way longer than my initial anticipated 3-week
So it was just
plan.
3 weeks at first.
I came here
Come work
for 3 weeks.
3 weeks, get away from everything in the U.S.
Get a break from the lockdown.
Because it hadn't hit Greece yet.
Correct.
It felt last year like Greece was in its own planet.
It was.
So it was 3 weeks, come here, work remote. Before we get into what led you to stay for over 50 weeks now, talk to me about the difference between work remotely, living remotely, and what some people, maybe some of our listeners that want to get into this, might not understand.
Okay, well, the difference between living and working remotely, as opposed to not living and working remotely.
No, as opposed to living remotely and working remotely.
And just working remotely.
Because some people try to blend it too now.
Right. So it's kind of one and the same, and it sort of isn't. So to work remotely means you're not obligated to go into a designated location to do your job,
Right.
which most people then transition that into working at their house. I took it a step further, and I left my house, my city, my state, and even my country to just travel around and see, is a business or work sustainable while being constantly on the move? And it was. I tested it in small stints. I started out a weekend, then I did a week, then I did a week in another state, then I did a week in another country, and it would go from there. So my biggest test to date was coming here last year to Galimnos for 3 weeks. That was going to be my longest time away from my base, and the furthest I had been from my base for an extended amount of time. And it definitely adds another element to your work environment when you get to be in a place that you want to be, that's different. It changes your environment. It makes working a lot more enjoyable as opposed to being stuck in your living room.
Right. Now, you say these obviously advantages. What are some of the cons to this?
Some of the cons to working remotely is, well, there's a couple. One, your clients might not be a fan of you not being nearby. Being able to have face-to-face time with you, that makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Sometimes they feel maybe the work isn't being done properly. Whether it is or not, it gives them an uncomfortable feeling. Another one is you get a lot of judgment from people who aren't doing that, they think that you're on a constant vacation.
Right.
When you need time to work, people don't take that seriously. Even though I have my laptop out and I'm at a beach, people come up, talk, try to hang out. I'm working.
You got to get those
I'm
virtual
actually
backgrounds
working.
that make you looking like you're in a library or in your office.
Right.
Because they're not gonna. If you're at a beach, no matter how dedicated you are, they're just not gonna take it seriously.
That's right. That's one of the changes I made being here long term. Is I actually purchased a background with an influencer lighting setup and a camera, so that I can take certain meetings from a place that looks like I'm always in the same place, and it gives people a nice feeling, a comfortable feeling, a secure feeling.
It feels like, all right, I'm talking to her and she's at her place of work.
And she's at her place of work, which my place of work is remote. Yeah. So that is one of the changes I did make.
What are some tips you'd give someone that's might want to, because now there's especially Greece has packages ready for people that want to do this. There's a digital nomad program. I think there's only about 4 months left to become a part of it, where if you decide to move and work in Greece, they're going to give you 7 years of tax breaks, but you're going to have to become a taxpayer in Greece.
Correct.
Let's say someone wants to take that. Give me 2-3 tips you'd give this person.
Well, it's definitely up to the individual. We'll say for me, it was not a good choice to become a permanent citizen in Greece. For me, my business is based in the United States. I pay taxes in the United States. And for me, it's a lot cleaner, safer, and better to just be always considered a U.S. citizen, but traveling abroad. And that just made things nicer. People always want you as a remote worker to be established somewhere. Where are you? Where's your base? My base is nowhere, but technically my base will always be in the United States no matter what.
This is usually the quietest place when I go on my trip. And we got this guy just yelling right now. And it's I think they're working on something and he's just yelling. I just want to put up a sign, stop.
That's one of the fun things about working abroad is you have to adjust to new environments. So in LA, I'd be used to choppers, sirens, maybe people screaming, the occasional gunfire.
Yeah.
Here it's chickens.
Yeah, and it's been all week. I haven't heard anyone in this area. And then today we decide to record this and we get someone interrupting the podcast.
A random shepherd. Goat shepherd.
So you gave me a couple things some tips, some things they might want to be cautious.
I recommend to stay anonymous where you're at. Not everybody needs to know where you're located.
Yeah.
That's the way I prefer to remain anonymous location. Don't lag on your work. Stay on time, stay diligent, and as long as you're doing your work and you're on time and you're fulfilling your services, then there's really no reason that you can't do it from anywhere in the world that you want.
Right.
For as long as you want.
So this went a little longer than anticipated.
It did.
You went 3 weeks and you're probably at 50, 60 weeks now.
So yeah.
What happened? Why are you here over a year? I left. I went back to the States. I did my stay-at-home thing. And I'm back. You're still here. Talk to me.
You did. We were at a bit of a who's here longer at first.
Yeah, you destroyed me on that one.
I was not planning this at all. I planned for 3 weeks. I brought a suitcase for 3 weeks. I even told some clients 3 weeks. But I am now here officially 13 months. And it's been a journey. Also, it's been during a pandemic, which made things a bit different. But it's been a lot of fun. I got to experience what it was like to see if a business is sustainable away from a base for an extended period of time. It is. You have to make a few adjustments. It's always good to have somebody back home to check things like mail, maybe go in to run an errand or things like that. I also recommend to cut down on your bills at home, maybe rent out your place or your car, and things like that, which you don't really need to do if you're only leaving for a week or two here and there, but I've been gone for 13 months, so.
Yeah, if you're planning to leave for that long, I'd try to cut down your overhead back home as much as possible.
Correct. Also, another thing I needed to make sure of, which I didn't for the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, is have a base of somewhere where you know your computer repair salesman, your phone repair person, things that you need to keep your remote office running.
Right.
Know where those people are located and those contacts, especially on a remote place like Galimnos, which is a little island that doesn't have too many resources. Get established, know where everyone is at, so that your remote office can keep running no matter what happens, no matter where you are. That's something I didn't look into before.
All right. Business aside, you
Yeah.
stayed here for a year. I
Yeah.
think a lot of Greek Americans, Greek diaspora, even non-Greeks, Philippines that want to know what it's like here year-round. Tell us. I mean, you weren't just. I know you. I mean, you were mainly in Galimnos, but I know you went to a couple of other places. But tell me, what is Greece like year-round? It's not the beaches and the sunbeds all year.
No, it isn't. I know that the diaspora has this one little window view in the summertime of Greece, but an entire year is a whole other experience, and it's actually beautiful. I would almost go to say that Greece might be even more beautiful in the wintertime than it is in the summertime. It completely changed my perspective. The nature came into play, mountains, trails, forests, different flowers and different smells are here during the winter than there are in the summer. And the people, actually, their character changes a little bit in the winter versus the summer. And it's really nice to see the whole picture, and it was a really enjoyable stay, and I actually will be back here for a winter stay again because it was so enjoyable and so beautiful. It wasn't harsh, it wasn't difficult, it was absolutely relaxing, almost more relaxing than the summertime.
So you've been here a little over a year. You see yourself staying here more?
So I wasn't planning on staying here a year because of the pandemic and being unable to make really secure plans, and I'm still in that space. Obviously, having an unplanned really long stay is difficult, so I am trying to work on getting back to the States, touching base with home. But this year-long stay here in Greece has definitely changed the future of how I'm going to be working. I might permanently create a half a year stay here, half a year stay in the United States, whereas before it was just little tiny trips. So, and it is possible to do that now that I know how to survive abroad for a year, remote for a year.
But so you obviously told us what it's like, what it smells like, and it's a different view, different sense in the winter. But you obviously saw it in a time of the pandemic.
Correct.
Was there a glimpse of any normalcy while you were here in the winter, or not really?
Normalcy, unfortunately, due to the state of Greece in the winter, had a very, very strict lockdown. There wasn't, but I did have the chance to talk to locals, and they did let me know every time we had a holiday or a certain time of year where there was a special event, people sat and had the time to tell me story of those different times, events, and holidays, and how they actually celebrate them, because they were in the middle of missing them.
Right.
So it was a good time to sit and talk to them about it. And during the summer, you're not going to talk about what's Christmas like, but at Christmas time, when people are really missing their traditions, they're going to sit and tell you about it. And it was even better than I even imagined. It makes me want to come back and experience it while things are not locked down.
Interesting.
It's beautiful.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that covers pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. Just
Great.
working remotely, living remotely, what it's like to be here for a year, because I know a lot of people say they want to come do it, but when push comes to shove, when September comes around, people start saying, I got to get back to my normal life.
If you don't have children that are in school, I'd say that might be or maybe an elderly family member or someone that is dependent on you, I would highly recommend
Giving it a shot.
Give it a shot. Go ahead and take the leap. Don't take that return flight home in September. Just miss it. You can usually get a credit on the airline, and definitely just stick it out and see what it's like. You can always go home. There's always that return ticket. No one's keeping you imprisoned anywhere, but you don't know till you try. And let me tell you, as an example, I've done it and it's worth it. Definitely stick around and try to do as long a stint as possible remote.
Tell us why we got to come to Galimnos though for the winter. Spend the year in Galimnos.
Galimnos is...
I mean, I know the reasons, but I want to hear it from you.
Okay. the reason to come to Kalimnos is it is one of the most unique islands in the Aegean. Everyone knows the Kyklades, everyone knows the Ionian, but Kalimnos specifically has huge and beautiful, gorgeous mountains that you can't even visualize in a photo.
Yeah.
You just can't. The trails, the hiking trails, the remote churches, it's an adventure. And it's a vision like none other in Greece, like none other.
And if someone wants to feel like they're in a busy city, there is that too. We have a city that's pretty big for the size of this island. Potia is pretty big.
The port town for Kalimnos is busy. It's got cafeterias, bars, restaurants, hotels. And then if you want to get away, it's literally a 10-minute drive to a remote place where it's quiet, beautiful, and you're in nature.
Yeah.
It's got everything.
It really does. And if you like rock climbing, it's known for that.
It's famous for rock climbing, and although the diaspora might not think so, you can actually swim here in Kalimnos up probably throughout the whole year, to be honest. But I swam through November, and it was beautiful. I'd say the water and the weather is even more beautiful September, October, November here than it is May, June, July.
Love it.
Yep.
So if you come to Kalimnos, I guess you got to come and stay here with us, right?
Yes, you do.
This is the beautiful view we have here. This is Castelli Bay, the Villa Castelli Bay. So you can check that out. It's a perfect place to maybe come spend the winter. You can check them out on their website. It's Villa Castelli Bay. And we did this podcast here last year.
We did.
And here we are again this year. We spent this week here. And all right, but I think we covered everything. Is there anything else you want to throw in there that I might have forgot? I mean, it's known for rock climbers, but it's also known for sponge diving.
It's known for sponge diving. It's got so many caves, beautiful caves, ones that you climb up to, ones you climb down
It's an
into.
adventure.
It's just an adventurous island.
Adventure. I know it's not. It's lesser known, but for the ones that do know, they understand how special this place really is. I mean, we have this view right here. I know the camera doesn't see it, but we have the sea right to our side. We got a boat approaching us. It's not there's somebody swimming in the depths. You see him?
Yep, I do.
Awesome. All right. I guess I'll let you go. This was Grease Chats. And before we sign off, one quick shout out to the Grease Chats sponsor. It's Prosperity. And what Prosperity is they have revolutionized the game when it comes to buying and selling property in Greece. So it's actually pretty fitting for this conversation. If you want to come to Greece and need a home, Prosperity are your people. You want to check them out. And it's not just buy and sell. You can now find rentals. So you can even rent a place. Just like she said, come try it. You don't have to commit. Come try it. Rent a place. Find it on Prosperity. Their website is theprosperity.com. And you can do virtual tours, submit offers. Look, the site is pretty good. I've checked it out because everyone knows that I'm in the market to try to find a home, and we'll decide what we're going to do about that soon, whether it's going to happen this year or not. But Prosperity has made it pretty easy. They even let you submit your bid and even apply for the mortgage on the website.
Oh, that's easy.
It's pretty unreal. Virtual 3D tours. And what I'm told is that Greece now has a program, if you're not even a citizen and you live in the US, you can apply for a mortgage in Greece.
I knew that, yeah. I think
that launched this summer.
That's awesome.
So yeah, check them out, The Prosperity. And this is Fotini Patris. One quick plug, she's Kalimian that loves to be here.
Yep.
She's now spent the last a little over a year. She
Correct.
came here for 3 weeks when working remotely and living remotely became this huge thing once the pandemic broke out, and it's changed your life.
It really has. Getting to have my home base be global is a dream come true, and it can happen for anyone who just simply wants it.
Yeah, and I've been doing it, but not to your extent. I've been going 3 months and then I'm out. So one of these years I'll crack through that 3.5 month mark.
You can do it.
Yeah. We'll see. All right, thank you for joining me.
Yes,
and
you're
thank
welcome.
you guys for listening. This was Grease Chats with Tony Kariotis, and the podcast sponsored by The Prosperity. And today's guest was Fotini Patris, and we will talk to you again soon on the next episode.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Actually, leave it. Let that roll. Let that roll. Let's show.
Tony, I'm so sorry. I kept looking at the
Let that roll.
camera. Yeah.
Let's show everybody the view really quickly before we log off. Look at that.
Look at that boat out there.
We weren't kidding when we said we have this incredible view.
How cute is that?
All right. Talk to you guys in the next episode.